Welcome to Daza on World of Madness. I'm walking in slow motion along a beam. That could only mean that I have the beta of replay mod installed. And always want to jump on a bandwagon. Here is what Pulse thinks my Minecraft face would look like if it were a photograph. Yeah, it doesn't look anything like me, but it's still fun. So what have I been doing? Here's some highlights. I fought a skeleton in a mine shaft, and then I fought a zombie also in the mine shaft, and when I fought the zombie, his head dropped off. Keep an eye out. There it goes. Yeah, so basically I had replay mod running all the time. I was doing pretty much everything. And I made this fly through. It shows the state of how the capsule was at least towards the start. And I make that distinction because, of course, it's grown a bit. And as the video progresses, you will see some of the work I've done on this. And in fact, having this fly through, it gave me the opportunity to look at how the whole thing is holding together. And indeed, I've started to give some more thought as to what needs to happen with the interior, because as much as I like having an enormous empty space, as I said before, really I've got to do something with it. And as I zoom in through this walkway, again, we're still looking at how things were before I did a lot of the changes that I made. Whether I'll keep that arboretum, I'm not sure. Every time I get rid of it, or I think about getting rid of it, I seem to need more wood. In particular, I needed loads of birch wood, which you'll see again as time goes on. Those two beams at the front I have now got rid of, even though I said I'd keep them. I just didn't want to get in the way of blocking the view into this vaulted area, because it's just, this is a nice space. And again, I should say this fly-through was mostly done just to practice with replay mod, just to make sure that I could get the camera paths working the way I wanted them to, that I could squeeze between things without clipping through the walls or anything bizarre. And in fact, it's held up really well. Given that it's in beta, you know, I thought it might crash or whatever. It's actually done really well. I'm quite pleased with it. We go, just missing a tree. There we go. This causes a frozen moment in time. And if you're at all curious, in fact, it was just a few minutes before I dispatched that zombie and that skeleton, because it was all the same session. So, what I realised I needed to do in order to progress the capsule was to continue building the walls upwards so that I could start on the flat-walled section where the cylindrical part of the capsule will join up with the vaulted roof section. So, again, since I was recording everything, this gives you a view of how I generally go about building these sections of the cylindrical part. So I go up 2 blocks at a time, and that means 2 blocks of wood, and then I can do these rows with the glass. I actually ran out of sand round the back of the hill I took down, and I've started using an area of sand that's tucked away a bit in the covered forest, so you can't quite see it. Now, as I'm coming along to the side of this section, I do make a little bit of a mistake. Let's see if you can tell what it is. There's going to be an indicator in a minute. There it is. You must have been observing very closely to spot it. In fact, on the other levels, I have 3 bits of wood before I start the glass, and so I had to come back and fix that later. So here you can start to see the flat wall being built up. Of course, this section has glass too. The lower sections have glass in these areas, and I wanted to continue that through. Exactly the same size of windows that we had further down. So now, continuing on the left side of the cylinder, one question that does come up is, will I continue with this alternation of birch and dark wood? There's another mistake. I didn't notice that one for quite some time, and it's quite blatant, really. But yeah, will I continue this pattern of dark wood and birch indefinitely? Oh, I mean, obviously it's going to have to stop at some point. There'll be the build limit eventually. But I don't know. I did kind of have this idea that I might have turrets or something going along the right. Anyway, here I run out of glass. Just in a second I run out of glass. And so I think, okay, I'm going to go back, get myself some sand. I'm over water, so it's perfectly safe to drop down. And, or at least it would be perfectly safe to drop down, were it not for... Can you see him? There's a drowned with a trident. Look at him. And I don't know, he must have seen me coming. He was right there waiting for me, and very good shot, very good shot. Yes, he killed me. And because I was recording, you get to see the whole thing. Clean-up down there wasn't very interesting, so I didn't bother showing you that. This was what I had in mind for the flat wall. And basically, yeah, we've got a circle coming up, a big semicircle that's the same diameter as the cylinder at that point. So essentially it's the same as the cylinder but at 90 degrees. And I was thinking, right, this is quite simple because I'm working with a website, to generate these circles. It's just a matter of following instructions. Anyone can follow instructions, can't they? Well, I can't, because just look at the number of times I managed to screw up this right-hand side. In my defence, all I can say is that when you're looking at it from the side like this, it's really obvious when things are going wrong. But from the perspective I had while I was actually trying to build the thing, it was very difficult to see where the curve was going wrong. And I just kept thinking to myself, should I build out sideways and have a look? Should I get the spectator account out and use that? And really, if I'd had any sense, I would have done one of those things a lot sooner than I actually did. See, there we go, and it's still coming out too high. But the thing is, when you're getting close to it, you can kind of tell, to be fair, you can kind of tell, yeah, it's coming in a bit too high. But you think, maybe that's just an illusion. Maybe it's just because of the character height. And this time I ludicrously overcompensate. I mean, no way is that going to be the right height. So at this point, I've just built a little dirt platform out there to see what's going on, and I can see that the curve has actually gone wrong a lot further down than I thought it had. So go down there, fix it, start building up again, and this time, it works. Hooray! Now you might have thought I'd have learnt my lesson, but I went ahead and made a smaller inset circle that's concentric to the outer one. Nothing really went wrong with this one, and it's meant to line up roughly with the inner surface of the windows and continue that line up. So this whole area will be filled in with contrasting blocks, possibly crimson wood in the middle, and I'm not quite sure, maybe dark oak around the outside. You may notice another little detail that was completed as well. It's the rose window, accented around the edge with dark oak trapdoors. So as you can see, things keep progressing. So please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see what happens next.